and it will be available on their station and I believe YouTube. Okay, first order of business is 6 9th Avenue, Outback Engineering, Kyle.
Yeah, since we're on, how about if you go over to that mic and that way there, it'll pick up the recording easier. What?
You have the plan?
Yes,
See the
the
plan?
plan's there and...
Steve, I'll give you a copy of the plan if you
I
want.
have a board too if you want to look at it.
That's fine. Unless somebody from the audience wants to look. I've spent some time on this.
All right.
Okay, go ahead, Kyle, for the record, just identify yourself.
Yep, Kyle Devenish, Outback Engineering.
Can you hear him okay? Sometimes with that.
Go ahead.
It's up to you. Okay, go ahead.
Kyle Devenish, Outback Engineering, here for 6 9th Ave. We have an upgrade to a system which is actually a cesspool currently. Located on 9th Ave, down towards the top of bank of Westmont Ponset Pond. There's a paper street, Revere Street, which actually bisects the property into two separate portions of the lot. An existing single-family home, 3 bedrooms, serviced by town water and gas utilities. We are proposing an ejector pump in the basement for a basement bathroom. And what we're proposing is 24 Quick 4 or Quick 4 Plus, which we've heard from our installers that the providers are only giving them Quick 4 Pluses. They're exact same calcs and sizing calculations and everything. Proposed 1,500 gallon 2-compartment monolithic tank because we're within 400 feet of the surface water. We are asking for a local upgrade approval for the setback from the leach field to the surface water from 400 to 175 feet. On the plan, we have all our details, inspection port detail, silt fence, 2-compartment tank, D-box detail. We working with Bob Valerie and here. We've added multiple inspection ports at either end of the system and provided the 2-compartment tank in order to serve for, because there's an ejector pump proposed. Take any questions you may have.
Who's doing the install?
I don't know if the homeowners decided, but
Just more of a curiosity.
Murphy Brothers out of Middleborough did the perk test. And I guess they know each other, so they might be doing it. I'm not sure though.
Kyle, as you know, I'm familiar with the plan.
Yep.
And you've done pretty much everything I think I've requested in the review. I thought originally we had this debate that this house was a 2-bedroom. Am I missing something? Bob, wasn't this a 2-bedroom originally, and then we had this debate about the 2-bedroom deed restriction and...
Well, you wanted to increase it to a 3-bedroom design.
No, I'm just, there's something in so many of these, but was this the one originally you come in with the 2-bedroom and we said, okay, so all right, so that's fine. If you do have an existing, on the notes, it should have said existing 2-bedroom. The fact that you have a 3-bedroom design is based on Title V, and we had that debate. So just so not to confuse anyone, and unfortunately, we don't necessarily 100% go by assessor's records. We don't determine the bedroom count by the assessor's records. We determine the bedroom count by you going in and determining that. That's the only comment that I have. Steve, we did have a lot of debate back and forth on number of bedrooms, type of system, groundwater. It's my understanding to save the homeowners some money. We're going to be doing a groundwater observation hole at the time of the inspection. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Reason being, Kyle, and he's done this in the past, he used for groundwater elevation the dam at on
The
Ponset
stump pond there?
Yep,
And I, as you know, have a problem with that.
yeah, I know.
Okay, when I say, I've done this for a long time, to me, that's not a good basis for determining groundwater.
Okay.
Especially when the dam is controlled by the city of Brockton. So yes, you can take the top of the dam, but that lake level could vary. So I'm kind of a little bit of a stickler on trying to get the
so there's been-
groundwater determination on site.
We haven't done it on site, we haven't done a
Well,
a hole?
they dug, yeah, they dug some holes, whether or not they had a machine that was big enough to dig it deep
10
enough.
feet.
So, in lieu of getting them out there, re-perking it and have the homeowner go through that expense, Bob and I have kind of agreed that, at the time of the installation, as long as you do it before you put the tank in,
Yep.
they'll do a groundwater determination, and he'll find models at some point. And so I'm okay if
The
you,
only thing I'd like to see changed is it says the distribution box within 9 inches, that'd have to be within 6.
he's right. The septic system itself has to be 9 inches per Title V.
Yep,
You've got all the covers to grade on the tank, so just, Bob, I'm gonna ask you to red pen this. I'm not gonna have you redo a plan for that.
Yeah.
So Bob, before this plan goes out, just red pencil that's gonna be within 6 inches of grade.
Oh.
Yeah, Steve's correct on
The
that.
D box, right?
The D box, yeah, the cover.
Everything else is showing the grid.
I have no problem with anything else.
Everything else looks...
If you want to make, you want me to read it, Steve?
No, I was just,
One second.
what are you talking about?
Okay.
The plan, I just read my copy.
Okay, no, he's gonna need a local upgrade approval. Let me find your notes.
local upgrade. It's at the bottom right-hand corner of the actual plan view.
Okay, I don't find it here. You got the sewer injector pump notes, but you do need a local upgrade, right?
Yep, it's, where you see
Just
Margaret
point it out.
Flaherty.
Just point it out, just lift it up. Oh, okay, here it is. Sorry, everybody puts it in a different place. I'm gonna make a motion to approve the plan at 6 9th Avenue with a local upgrade approval, allowing that the reduction of the required setback from the proposed leaching field and subsurface water supplies from 400 to 175 feet.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
Next item on our agenda is 22 Carver Street. It's a plan prepared by Collins Engineering. I'll give you a copy of it, Steve. Thank you. Bob, just bear with me, just the one to review. Did review come back on this one?
Yes. Reviews back and barely needed anything done. It should be right on the cover of it. I'll try to put them on the cover for you, Alan.
Is it?
Both the review and your notes.
The review might be underneath my notes. Okay.
Yeah.
Steve, one of the items on the review, which I usually catch, let me see if it's on mine, was the limit of unsuitable material. Did I catch that, Bob? Did I miss it?
The A, B, and C level,
A and B's gotta come out, but if you encounter soils within the old septic system, is this within the old septic system? Okay, what's he talking about?
yeah, it's gotta be removed 5 feet beyond the limits of the assessed.
Correct. That's common. Did he miss that note? Did you look at this, Bob?
Oh, it's here.
Yeah, I thought it, I mean, I looked at this before.
Bottom
Yeah,
right
here.
corner,
Right.
just above the seal.
Also, it says it right underneath the system profile, remove all unsuitable soils, so.
Yes, it
I
does.
don't know.
I didn't
And
understand.
then there's a question on the 3-to-1 slope, which I don't really think that's an issue.
No, not according to the site.
Okay, just to bring it up to date, this is a site that we've had breakout. I think it's still breaking out today. I reviewed the plan. The review engineer reviewed it with some minor comments. I have no problem with it. So, I don't know if you've got any questions. Take a minute and look at it.
No, everything's here that you... good.
I did do a site review today and it's still in breakout, so. He'll file after the fact with Concom because one of the pipes is gonna be like around 85 feet to the 100-foot marker, but we've already got the breakout system well within the wetland marker, so
All right,
pushing this forward would be more detrimental than.
okay, the other issue that we have with this, Steve, see here, the structure? There's a pipe that comes out near the deck.
Yeah,
See how that goes into a long sweep?
yeah.
What the engineer did was he provided for a long sweep, and there's a note up here, a 2-foot sweep with a clean out at the bend.
Okay. That I'm fine with the clean out.
That's fine. The problem we have, though, is that that sweep is really not readily available. And I did ask for some sort of a sketch. So Bob, I'm gonna kind of leave it up to you. That sweep is an electrical sweep. In 4-inch, the installer might have a problem. In that event, as long as they use 2 45s with a 2-foot section in between them, and clean out the grade, I'm fine with that. If they can get the sweep, then that's fine. Steve, I'm gonna make a motion, if you're ready. You ready, sir?
Excuse me?
If you're ready?
I am ready.
I'll make a motion to approve the septic plan at 22 Carver Street with the following local upgrade, to reduce the required vertical separation from the soil, underlying the soil absorption system to the high groundwater elevation from 5 feet to 4 feet. And we're gonna give Bob the benefit of the doubt to determine that that bend that comes out of the house is adequate. There'll be no 90s in that.
Yep, I can catch that on the install.
Okay.
I'll second.
Yeah, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Kelly, I'm not gonna put these in order, but you can. Next item on our agenda is 73 Hemlock Lane, George Collins Engineering. I'm gonna give you the plan. I have.
George has been a busy man, hasn't he?
Yep. Let me just take a quick look at this.
Or they're moving it out back, huh, Bob?
Yeah, We dug in the front and the soil wasn't, and we
Do
needed
you think that may have had some sort of, something to do with the premature? Yeah.
Absolutely. It was pretty nice out back then.
Hemlock Lane
There's
has got,
plenty of area.
It's right here.
yeah, that's got pretty good soils down there, so. I'm
Yeah,
surprised.
just that front part was not suitable as we would have liked.
Steve, you don't let me know when you're ready?
Oh, I'm ready. I have pretty good knowledge of this.
Two comments I want to make for the record is that we adopted some regulations that require 2 inspection ports, and that regulation was sort of more leaning towards the chambers when we had the field configuration of the chambers. So I think we're going to have to revisit that at some point. This engineer likes to do chambers in stone, which is fine. This particular system is in a field. Yeah, he's in a field configuration because it's fed in more than one direction. But he's got 3 ports on there, and I don't know that they're 100% correct, 100% necessary. So we'll visit that issue at some other point.
Excuse me, LC6s?
LC6 is in stone.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, do we need, I gotta find it. I don't think this one needs any variances, right?
Yep.
Did I miss something on the plan here, 5153? Okay, it's got a full separation of groundwater, it's got more than the required 5 feet. He's using a 2,000-gallon tank. What do we got, a 5-bedroom here? Okay, that's fine.
2 compartment, I think.
Just
It
2
is,
compartment with a
2-compartment.
5-gallon.
Is that second compartment a pump? Is it getting pumped down there?
No.
No.
You get enough of a gravity to get down there?
Right. But what happens when you get that kind of flow, it's, if you get the 2 compartment especially, you know, collecting so many solids up front and more effluent going out back, so.
George only designs 2-compartment tanks. I've installed this system, and I originally did not agree because of the expense, but when you look at the fact that you got all the solids in the front, and the effluent is fairly clear when it gets out, so you got an effluent filter. The only problem that we have is when the pumpers come out to pump, not knowing it's a 2-compartment tank, I think it's gonna be a little problem.
Well, that's why
Well-
and I was actually thinking this
Right.
when you said it, because, yeah, if you don't use a little common sense, even though there's a wall right there, you should be able to figure it out.
Sometimes you
Yeah,
can't see it, but if you got a 1,500, well, this one here, if you call for 1,500 to 2,000 gallons, you only take 500. You gotta hope you
But
guys pay attention.
it's
But-
my opinion on 2-compartment tanks, the inlet as well as the outlet should have to be a grade.
Which we do have.
Okay,
Right.
I just,
Yeah.
Yeah, so if they're at grade, shame on a pumping company that
I
doesn't open
agree.
up both of them.
I've come up, there's a house in East Bridgewater that got me. It's got 2 filters on the inlet side and the outlet side. You know, when you're going from the T, from the first compartment into the second, they have a filter there, basically in the center compartment,
Correct.
and then one on the out. It got me.
Yeah, you can do that. Do you have any issues with that plan?
I do not.
I'll make a motion to approve as designed the septic plan at 73 Hemlock Lane in Halifax.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next item on our agenda is discussion items. Bob, can you just brief us on 163 Plymouth Street? I know we had some emails come in today, but can you brief us on any status?
Well, from the last meeting, we started sending out fines. I'm on my 7th day of sending out $500 a day fines to Fannie Mae to do something about the order of correction that was sent to them. I did get an email back from the real estate agent, and she's talking about the possibility of what they'll do. I said, well, it's time to do something. You need the yard cleaned up, and we go from there.
Okay. I did speak with council on this too, just to update you, and the most that we can do as a town and he can do is to send out, and I don't know, I haven't got CC'd anything yet, is another letter to the attorney that represents Fannie Mae.
Yep.
To see if they'll expedite something. I haven't seen anything come through, so hopefully we'll start some progress. I did get the same email as Bob today, and I did reach out to the real estate agent. I have not spoken with her. And hopefully that property will be boarded up so we can get some closure.
Has anyone seen any occupancy going on there? Any movement or anything?
I have not. Bob, have you?
No,
seen
I
anything?
have, probably last week before. One day there was a white car in the driveway, and one day there was a blue car in the driveway. And they were both gone later on, and I've never seen a body there, but I have seen a vehicle, two different
they're coming in by
vehicles in the
boat.
yard.
But no, they come in and leave. And I think in the email today, Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, there's been no activity, there's been no communication between Mr. Fox or Mr. O'Donnell, whatever we want to call him. And prior to the last court appearance, they were calling every single day. Am I correct, Bob? They were tenants, and as soon as that judgment entered against Mr. Fox, correct me if I'm wrong, we haven't heard a peep out of any of the tenants.
No.
Technical tenants, okay. So we're still working on it. Next item on our agenda, unless Bob, no comments, right? Any other comments?
No.
Okay. Steve, the next item on our agenda is the review schedule for revisions. And what I'd like to do is hold that over until we got a full board.
I agree.
Yeah, I was gonna recommend that.
Yeah.
Without
Kelly's-
John, that would be,
Kelly provided in our package the whole thing, so I'd suggest kind of marking it up. It's on the agenda, so we can touch on it briefly. My thoughts are that commercial repairs, we need to look at that drastically. And those commercial repairs or commercial new installations take up lots and lots of time. Those fees should probably be doubled.
Do we have any idea where other towns around us sit? I don't want to just start doubling things to...
Well, here's the, I did not check around surrounding towns. I know that Halifax at a complete system new at $300 is probably competitive. The problem we're having is with the new construction and the commercial, we probably did at least a dozen inspections at O'Reilly's. At least a dozen.
But that was a lot due to non-compliance, correct? And ignorance?
Well, it's not non-compliance, and I wouldn't say ignorance, it was just lack of the experience, because we had an installer that really wasn't an installer. He pulled the permit, he took it out, one of his guys built it. That's common. But we had, some of the issues, we gave them a partial only because they needed to get it buttoned up, but there was D-box problems, there was tank problems, there was tank problems, there was...
So, my feeling towards that is, I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all. I don't want to start discouraging people coming to town, but you're right, something like that where things are, for whatever reason, not happening the way they should, you're right. If we have to go out somewhere multiple times, I think there should be a fee for that. But I don't think if, Alan Diaz's kitchen comes in and does everything the proper way, uses the proper contractors and goes through the proper channels, that we should charge him the same price of Bob Valerie's, kitchen that we've had to go out 25 times to slap him upside the head because he's just not listening. I don't think everybody should pay for one person's lack of knowledge. I think maybe there should be a price, and then, if we have to continually go out there, then I think that should be an additional cost.
And that's a good point. And I'm making on my notes, should be based on inspections. We did request some more inspections for O'Reilly's, but
Yes, we did.
in O'Reilly, I don't think we ever got it, did we?
No,
Okay.
but if we have it written in,
Okay.
if it's a second inspection, it's really not a huge deal, but when I got into the.
But you guys, it seems like you guys are always there at O'Reilly's.
I mean, the D-box was a 12-hole D-box. It's stuck up on the ground, a foot higher than it was supposed to. I don't remember.
I mean, I have
The
no,
tanks leaked, the pump chamber, they didn't fill the holes in or something.
I have no problem with, charging those, because time is money. But again, I don't think we should charge everybody, right out the door.
Your homework, because I'm going to agree with you, is let's come up with some sort of an additional inspection schedule. It doesn't happen too much on residential.
No.
Okay, but on the commercial, but I'm going to say this much. If we are going to apply it, we need to apply it for both residential and commercial. If we have to go out for secondary inspection, well, the one over there, 500 and some change on Ponce Street.
Yeah, like I said, I would give anybody one leeway,
Yeah.
myself. We already have a fee in for me to go in and do a inspection. If I see something wrong, I tell them what's wrong, they fix it. Let's fix it. Now if I have to go back again, that's when we should get into it, so,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
One residential one, how many
Oh,
times?
sorry, I didn't see you.
Hold on.
Here I am.
Bob, just hold on. Bob, there was another system, the residential one, that we went out half a dozen times.
Right.
One down across from the church. We had to do additional perk tests. The tank was 2 feet too low. I don't know how many, but so let's keep that in mind.
And again, I have no problem with that. I'm just saying, I don't think that we should raise the first shot, is what I'm saying. If somebody's been doing their job right, I don't feel that we should penalize them because of other people that might not be.
Okay, good point. We're going to hold this till our next meeting. Yes? You want to identify yourself for the record?
Absolutely, my name's Amy Eldridge, from 10 Hillside Ave. I just wanted to make up the point that sometimes, well, first I have a question. Aren't all installers and testers having to pay a fee to do business in town and they get their insurance checked and all that?
Yes,
So we take a fee for that, right?
yes.
Okay. The other thing is I can say, I can feel your pain when you have to go out a few times for an inspection, but that's just sort of like any business. I might have to go to a house more times with one sale versus another, but it just sort of comes out in the wash. And so we should think of that, because we shouldn't be penalizing people where we have sellers that need these things in order to sell. So if we're going to charge extra fees for commercial and things, I do think it will hinder people coming to the town. And also I would remind everybody that the Board of Health agent gets right? You get a weekly paycheck, salary?
Yes.
So putting a fee upon sellers and buyers for more, whether it's commercial or residential, is sort of doubling the pot, because the people of the town of Halifax already pay a salary for this to occur.
So my only thing to that is I kind of look at it by checking up on, I kind of, if somebody has to go out, like for example, if I was buying my house for you, you had to go out 10 different times because you just weren't getting it, for whatever reason, I may not want to use you. And I get exactly what you're saying, but the fact that if Bob has to go out and go, check something and tell somebody to change it 5 or 10 different times, I'm not sure I want that person working in town. You know, we're not charging the actual person, you know, the actual, you know, person who's living at the house on Hillside Ave that's being built. We're charging the contractor and the engineer that are making all the mistakes. That's what the charge is based on. It's based on the mistakes, and again, I mean, if I see these two coming out 10 times to my house and my septic system going and going, I don't know that I want that person. So I guess if you're doing your job properly and you're doing your job correctly, then you won't get all those extra charges.
Most of the time, yes.
Well, no, there's only one charge, and every town charges an inspection fee. One thing that Halifax doesn't charge that other towns do charge is, like when I do Title 5 in Pembroke, in a lot of towns, the customer in those places pay a fee every time they do a Title 5. Plymouth is $50. If I do a Title 5 and 50 in Plymouth, you have to give me $50 that I have to give to the town. Pembroke is 10, Wareham 75. It's all over the place.
Right, but it's still coming out of the homeowner because the contractor charges.
It is, but I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm saying they call it a reviewing fee. It's what all the towns do. And so, I mean, to go out once is, you know, it's the fun. We're not talking about raise the person now. We're talking about the numerous times because mistakes keep being made by quote-unquote professionals. I get it, things happen, but on the specific houses we're talking about, there were mistakes made above and beyond that should not have happened, and kept happening after being advised and shown and by, you know, different people, Bob and Alan both, as well as I believe John Weber was out there because of a pump issue at one time, because he knows, you know, has extensive knowledge there, and it just kept not getting fixed. It kept just, yeah. So we have to keep going out. I mean, I get what you're saying, and we're not talking about penalizing the normal Joe. We're talking about penalizing the people that, and it's almost kind of like saying you got three choices. Get better at what you're doing, pay the fines, or don't work in our town. And that actually makes me feel good because I feel like we're weeding out the people that you probably really don't want working in the house. We're sort of kind of protecting the homeowner. And if I was a homeowner, I would say, look, you told me this was the cost. They have to keep coming out because you're doing something wrong. They can call Bob and say, Bob, well, why do you have to keep coming out? I notice the health agent keep coming out here, what's going on? And Bob has to say, look, you know, things just aren't being done to town code, yada, 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 and that's why I have to keep coming out. And you can say to your contractor, look, you're not doing the job right. That's not my fault.
How are they not following the plan?
I'm not an installer, so I can't answer that. I'm just telling you the fees are based on do what you're supposed to do. But I'm sure they can maybe answer that a little better than I could.
How are they not following the plan?
No, I mean, like, how come they don't follow the plan? Why doesn't the plan just like?
No, see, the plan's already approved.
Yeah.
They have an approved plan in hand, and we asked for elevation 70.3. I go out there and I check it, elevation 68.2. Hello? You dug the hole too deep, you had the hole too high.
Yeah.
So now what do you gotta do? Oh, I gotta change the tank. Wasn't the homeowner's fault, wasn't the review engineer's fault, wasn't our fault for approving it, it's the guy who dug the hole. He didn't check an outlet coming out, he didn't do his job. So, fortunately, by me going out and checking that though, people aren't putting it in wrong. So that down the road, now the homeowner who, again, the homeowner shouldn't technically get charged because they already know the install price. The installer would be the one who gets the fee for it, you know, would be responsible for doing it wrong, would then have, you know, it's like, would you rather pay $75 today or another $5,000 down the road when your septic fails because I allowed it to go in wrong?
I'm all for you going out and making sure it's correct. I'm just saying.
5, 10, 15 times on a home? 5, 10, 15 times on a commercial building?
Yeah,
would be my question.
In the private sector, we go out and we do it until it's done, and we don't get a weekly paycheck, we just do it till it's done.
little
I mean,
different.
the argument can be made, I've often thought of this, the ambulance, the fire department, we pay the fire department salary, right? In town and our taxes, but if you take a ride in an ambulance, you get a bill. I mean, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I'm just saying it's unfortunately the way the world works. I mean, you could say, why did I just get a bill from the EMTs? Well, I pay my taxes, that pays their salary and pays, we appropriated money for the ambulance and the fire engine and all that good stuff, but you still get a bill from your insurance company, or your insurance company gets a bill.
But I think in all professions, no matter how, sometimes you get lucky. I think real estate, you could sell the house first shot. You might sell it over the phone and you get the same commission for it. So it's all relative on how things happen within every single profession I can ever think of.
But let's stay focused on the fees. We had a residential that I went out with you on a final inspection, another one on Ponce Street.
Yep.
And I believe that we had an as-built. Didn't we have an as-built for that one? Mm-hmm. And which way were the pipes going?
Right?
The pipes were going uphill. This was after the review engineer did it. So, Steve, I think you got good points. We're not going to make any decisions on this, but it would be probably...
It's great conversation.
Pardon me?
I said it's great conversation.
Yeah. It'd be very helpful, so somehow we can structure some fees to make sure that town's being compensated for multiple inspections. Okay, anything else?
I do want to just make just something I'm looking at right now, just real quick. So, in the town of Pembroke, to go out one time for a septic review, under 10,000 gallons, is $200. So, just trying to make it.
Is that a review fee though?
Yeah, review fee, yeah.
That's a review fee, but that's your plan. See, we get 100, I think, for the review. And then we do not charge a re-review fee if that plan does come back and it needs multiple
right.
changes.
So, right. I mean, I'm just looking at it, different fees, food inspections. Here's a perfect example of what we're talking about right here. And I'm looking at the town of Pembroke, it's right on their website. Second and additional re-inspections as follow-up to routine inspections are $25 each time additional. Mm-hmm. So,
That's cheap.
right. Well, but what the point I'm trying to get at is in my opinion, we're no different than anybody else, any other town. I don't think we're trying to raise the prices on anything ridiculous just for the people that are making it ridiculous. Yeah. And
Right.
We do have a line item here, reinspection of system not ready or improperly installed, $75. But let's take a look at that.
Okay.
That's on the line, and then we really need, the food establishment permits, we're not gonna go back for $25. The initial food inspection permit fee is $50.
It depends upon which
Okay, retail establishment is based on the square footage,
square
so,
footage and seating.
okay, so I'm gonna say average is gonna be $100 to $200 in this town, because it goes from 1,000 to 10,000 square feet, so that $200 number is probably where most of our restaurants are.
yeah, and Pembroke does it by seats, but I'll see what
Okay.
kind of information I can. Everything's
Everything is relevant.
and everything.
And every town is so different.
Yes.
Because I've looked at different fees from different towns, and we're really ballpark. They've got towns for a cigarette license, it's $300.
Okay. But just getting back to the reinspection fees, the reinspection fees are a blanket $50 because we pay X amount of dollars for that agent or representative to go out and do an initial inspection. If there's any corrective action that needs to be taken, and I think most of our restaurants are in pretty good shape. We don't get very many that have,
They've been very good.
then it's $50 for that next or subsequent inspection. We did have some restaurants that are gone now that we had multiple issues with. So the food permits, I think, are fairly decent. It's
Yeah,
it's the inspection stuff.
This week, as I'm going around different health departments, I'll see if I can get a printout from each one of the offices.
They're all online.
Yeah.
They're easy to print out.
For instance, our permit fee for a system repair is $100. You go next door, Hanson, that's $200.
Hanson charges, you have to have a system installer's license and pay a $100 permit to put in a distribution box riser.
That's correct.
That's crap. I think Amy has.
I won't agree with you. I won't agree with you. Yes.
It's Amy again. I just wanted to say that we're starting to get issues with new builds. That builders, before they close with their buyers, are reporting that they can't do it for the price that they're doing it anymore due to the costs going up on lumber and different things. So we really should keep that in mind as we haven't really seen all of the effects of what COVID is going to do to this nation. And one of those things should be thought of for futuristic. We don't want to keep charging people for things when they're losing their houses and we haven't even seen those mandates and the foreclosures and evictions lifted until June 30th of this year, and it probably will be extended again. I'll keep you posted. But there's a lot of people not paying, so the whole point is it looks really good and every other town might be doing it, but like that old saying says, we don't necessarily want to jump off the bridge just because everybody else does.
Oh, I would agree 100%.
Because it is going to be a problem in the near future that we're going to see the effects of what COVID has done with the unemployment and all of that.
It's my opinion that what's going to end up happening is if the towns don't do the fees, then, the big bank, the actual town itself, is going to just raise their taxes. The money's going to end up somewhere. It's just, you're going to pay every once in a while if you're having something done to the town of Halifax, or is the town of Halifax going to say, let's use a recycling center, that's my last point, recycling center, for example. It was, well, if you don't use a recycling, or if you want to use a recycling center, you got to pay $50. Okay. Well, then they decided, well, no. If you want to use the beach, you have to get a sticker. In order to get a sticker, you have to pay the recycling bill. And that's how they got it.
There shouldn't be a sticker on that beach. It's owned by the Halifax beaches on their deeds, so the town shouldn't be paying for shopping.
Well, the point I'm making is that basically what they're going to end up doing is just raising if we don't do the little fees here for the people who would, who might be building the house or something like that. And again, we're not talking about going through the roof. They're going to just end up making everybody pay for it in the taxes. And we all know that when taxes go up, taxes don't come down. So being in the town, I would rather it be if I build a new garage and I've got to pay the fee for it, then you have to pay for my new garage and your taxes every month, which would probably cripple you even harder than the $50 permit for putting that new garage up. That's just the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
But that's all I've got to say.
Okay, anything else? No, we'll go to mobile home soil evaluations.
That was just something we have soil evals on for pre-1995s. There's going to be a couple of clusters. I used the mobile home estates just because it was the most noticeable. But when you've got that many that close, you almost can't do a soil eval in everybody's yard. And I wanted for the board to take a look at it to see what circumference would cover X number of homes within a, specific community, so to speak.
My first thought to that is Title V says, if you're looking, one way to determine soils is you can look at a observation hole within 150 feet.
Okay, let's stop for a second.
Okay.
You're quoting the inspection criteria out of Title V.
Correct.
Okay, just clear that for the record.
Yeah,
It's just doing inspections.
Inspections.
right. If I've got to find groundwater, I can look at take information from an observation pole 150 feet away in any direction. So I'm willing to bet that that's probably 3 to 4 trailer properties would be 150 feet. When 150 feet's I don't think there's 20 feet in between those.
Of some of them, yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's, 7, let's say, just for quick, do, 7. I think if we're on an open, on a flat area, that every 5 would suffice. Once I saw this on the agenda, I started, thinking about it, and obviously I've done a lot of pumping in that neighborhood. And you're right, there are some roads that go up there and like that, but if you go down the first half of, say, being for the P, can't think of what it is.
Pasture, whatever it is, okay.
It's flat. Yes, at the end it goes like this. So yeah, down here, not a great idea. But the first 30 houses on that road are as flat as this table. So if you can get them within 150 feet, then if my fear after looking through there and everything is it's gonna look like a bomb went off. If every 20 feet I'm digging a 20, having a 20-foot hole dug, look, we have a bomb went off in there.
Okay, can I just stop you for a second?
Yeah.
Typically, when you're going in there to do an inspection, and we'll stay with the mobile home park, you're going to be inspecting at least 2 units with 1 system. Most of those are 2 systems.
Most, yes.
Okay. So you got 1 hole for 2 systems. My only issue.
Well, 1 hole for 2 homes.
1 hole for 2 homes.
Right, we just have the 2 systems, so just
Oh, I'm
want to
sorry.
clarify.
Okay, so that's 1 system.
Okay.
My only problem with just saying a blanket 5 is that soils vary.
You're right.
You can go from a less than 2 minute an inch perk and move 25 feet and get a 15-minute perk. But we're not really perking. We're
I was
looking.
gonna say, we're looking for models. Does that
We're
change?
looking for models. Yes.
Okay, I'm asking, I'm not, arguing.
No, I'm not, yeah, when I say yes, I'm just my words. Yes, it does, because how models are formed and determined is the actual water either coming up and creating a stain, or water goes down and it goes through your A and your B, and if you have what's called a C1 or a sand, but if you hit a C2 that's compact, you could have
2C.
modeling at that C2, which is going to put you at, it could be 48 inches.
Right.
But in reality, the way I look at it, they should be counting models from the water that goes up. But I didn't write the rule book, so you have to follow it. I think to go to a blanket 5, I don't know that I'd be 100% comfortable with that.
Do you have a
Only,
different?
only from a scientific standpoint.
Right.
But I think that if there's 2 units here and there's 2 units over there, okay, then could you do, and they're within 100 feet, and even sometimes that can be a problem. And if you did 1 hole here, I think I'd defer that to whoever's doing the soil evaluation to say, yeah, okay. If it looks fairly consistent. If you got an area that's a plain, it's relatively flat, that area's all been dug up and excavated. So, I think Bob, if he goes out there and does that soil evaluation, he's going to be able to see what those soils are going to be like. I mean, they're all not going to be the same. And trust me, I've gone on perks with the same class of soil. And this one perks and that one doesn't. To come up with a blanket 4 or 5, I don't think that's a good scientific approach. But I think if you had 2 units here and 2 units here with one septic system, and you had 2 units over here, I know it's difficult with trees and all that stuff. I think if you did 1 hole in between them, you might be okay.
Well, that's it, because so you've got, and again, after this all came up, I spent a lot of time in the today looking around. So we've got the road here, right? we got, this is say Beechwood and this is say Parkwood. We got the road over here. Well, you've got two roads, you've got houses backing up to one another. You know, the front of this house is on Parkwood, the front of this house is on Beechwood, you know what I'm saying? So you could essentially do one hole and cover both roads, correct?
You can't do it across the street.
No, they're not.
You can't go across the street.
But we're not crossing a road.
No, the back.
Okay.
I wish I had a better way.
Okay, so if you got Beechwood and Parkwood, and you're doing unit here and unit here.
Yeah, like the rear ends, the two rear ends meet,
Okay, so, that's fine.
but they're on separate roads.
If you had road in between them, you can't, because during
You can't cross sides of the road.
No, because during the construction of all those utilities, that will, there's no question, it does impact the groundwater. Not necessarily modeling, but it would impact the groundwater and have a tendency to flow with either drainages in there or water lines.
That I agree with. I've never trusted the other side of the road. My question is, does Bob witness all solar valves in town? I know you said, if Bob was comfortable with, does Bob, is that?
Well, you know what? I think when it comes to the mobile home park, I think it would be best that if you're not gonna follow the regulations the way that they are, that Bob would be able to come in and interpret it. I mean, I'd be very comfortable if Bob come in and said, well, look, I got 2 on Beechwood, I got 2 on Parkwood, we're gonna dig a hole right in the center. Okay? Then I would be okay with that. And I think that you as a Title V examiner, or anybody as an examiner, would be comfortable with that hole. Because there are no property rounds in there.
Right.
So I don't know where you're digging the holes now. Have you been out there in the valley?
We have
Oh,
not
God,
done
well,
it. There's been
Not
none
with
done there.
you,
Okay.
Steve, but I have.
So, I mean, I think it would behoove whoever's gonna do the evals in there is to spend some time with the agent and say, well, look I got these 4 units. Can I dig a hole here? Or do I dig a hole there?
Now,
Now, you take that risk.
how do you feel about the well monitoring?
So my thought process, if I can just interrupt for a second, was I do have a full map of the estates. And it would be really easy for me to mark out what I think would be a logical start, even without walking it. Then I could walk it and go further. The one thing that we really have in our favor is because of the wells, and that's just what made me just think about it, all of the testing that's been done in there, right now, all the groundwater samples have been testing terrific, both on nitrates and on phosphorus, well below the state limits. So, if we have a plan that does what we want to do, I think it's very possible and doable.
Well, let me just comment on this. Let me just mention one thing. I don't care where you get a plan for the park. I would not trust it.
Well, it will give me a start on
You need to make a
Where?
physical appearance. They have water lines in the wrong place. They have utility lines in the wrong place. There's nothing been properly marked.
And that's the other issue that we're gonna run into, popping a ton of holes over there.
Well-
They're not marked and nobody even knows where they are.
Correct. Now, when you
Because-
see a ton of holes, you got 2 units, you got 1 hole. Okay? So if you got 2 units and you got 1 hole, you got 400 units, how many are you expecting? They all being inspected at the same time?
So they're doing 90 a year.
They're doing 90 a year. All right, so that's 45 holes.
On average,
Yeah.
they're,
I think I would defer that. I would defer that to whoever's gonna do the soil evaluation.
Which
But I think, and it's only my opinion, and the board makes the decision, that if you're gonna do more than the 2 units, that the agent be consulted. Because 2 units within 100 feet, yeah, I'm okay. I mean, I've seen a lot of changes in 100 feet, but in that particular area, you got lots of sands. I haven't seen any soil evaluations myself there personally, so I don't know where groundwater is, but I'm gonna say it's probably 8. If you haven't done anything in that.
I've
Only
seen
one
them.
when we had to do the DEP rip out of the, when they had the oil tank leak. So.
That was down by the
this
wetlands, so would you find water at 6 feet, 7 feet?
6.5.
6, yeah, that's, I would say probably 8.
Look,
That's
we're
on
looking
the-
at the well.
on the upper
I
ground.
looked at the well thing the other day. I seen them as low as, what, 21 and a half feet? And I've seen a lot, here's what scares me, I've seen a lot at 7 or 8 feet. Those are all, or 90% of those in their pits.
Correct.
So now, if you're talking 7 feet, you know, that starts worrying me when we're talking 6-foot pits.
Correct.
So,
And the theory was back then, is you bring them down to the water table.
oh yeah, the water comes in, the water goes up.
Yeah, the only wells that I've seen down there are the ones, well, the well reports, because that last report was very difficult to read. You did have high numbers and the wells closest to Richmond Park. I don't know the name of them streets. I'd have to look at the map. Because I did look at the nitrates, and I did look at the, not so much phosphorus, I looked at nitrates and nitrites and ammonia. And Bob, at some point, you're gonna have to get back to that engineer so we can get some plans. Those numbers, just one test result came back exceeding the 10 parts per million. And then subsequently, the test results have come down. I have also gotten information from the water department on the Richmond well nitrate levels, okay? And those at one point spiked the whisker, but they went back down. And I looked at the Richmond Park well numbers, and I looked at the mobile home park numbers. And supposedly, the groundwater flow goes south, which means that
It does.
where the fields, where those wells were in Richmond Park would have been to the west. So any ammonia or nitrates should have gone towards the bog, towards the swamp, big, whatever the name of that swamp is back there. But those numbers receded, so we stopped kind of monitoring them. But like you said, if everyone's got a pit, and they do, the only ones that are leaching fields are the upgrades, and you're going a couple of 100 feet down, is that system in the water table. And my only concern, and I know with the Title V inspection, doesn't have to necessarily, it's got to be the 1 inch.
Right.
My concern is the pharmaceuticals. That's my biggest concern on the park. There's no way to get the pharmaceuticals out of the groundwater. So I think that whoever's going to do the evaluations, I think if they sat down with Bob to come up with some sort of plan, I would do a site visit. I would definitely
Oh,
look
yeah.
at a plan. And I think if you've got a couple of units that are fairly close, then you know, you got 4 units that are close, you decide I can dig here without putting out cable for a month, then I'm okay with that.
Right. I just thought it was a, you know, good room for thought, because if we dug a hole on every lot, it would, you know, look like a
You know, that's-
bombing area. That would
you know,
just be
that's
great. Not
90
us, but
Yeah, that's 90
when
holes.
inspections had to be
Yeah,
done.
it's 90 holes, plus it's the cost of doing 90 holes. And
Right.
I don't think I'd want to be out there like a gopher.
Nope.
And we really don't have the capability of doing any augering, because you're not going to be able to do, I mean, you can find models with augers, but I don't know how successful that would be. It'd probably be more expensive to get an auger than it would be a backhoe. Yes, Ms. True.
Is there a problem over there? You're saying there's pits, so are we looking at needing to do a lot of new septic systems over in Halifax Mobile Home Estates Park?
No, so if you want me to take,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. No, it's not a specific problem there. Title V law says that any shared systems have to be inspected every 3 years.
Just stop for a second. Okay, I just want to stop for a second. They're not shared systems.
But they are.
They're, okay,
Any more than one home in a system is considered a shared system,
No.
just like Twin Lakes is.
no, you got to read the definition. That's not a shared system. Those are,
property line.
what do they call them? Condominiums. So that type of system is a condominium system, so it's not a shared. Shared is 100% different. I agree, you got one house, they share the use of it, but you gotta be technical, so it's not a shared system, but
The DEP is considering a shared system and making them adhere to that rule though.
not the rule. The rule the DEP's making you is to comply with is the 2-year inspection for condominiums.
And there's only a 2-year if there's an association.
Correct. So if you got a condominium or an association, and I'll pull it up out of the code book. If you have a condominium or an association, that type of agreement, your septic system is required to be inspected every 2 years.
2 years,
2 years.
they allowed 3.
Now, okay, so you can go to 3.
The DEP allowed 3 in the
So,
book.
and we're getting off base, but when
Okay.
you look at the definition of a shared system, okay, a shared system would be a system that you have one and Bob has one, it goes to one single place, okay? And it's a nightmare because you need to have funds available if that system fails. All these systems are owned by the park.
Right, but it's just like Twin Lakes. They consider those, but I'm saying for the average Joe considers those a short system, shared. Regardless of the terminology, the end result is the same. They have to be pumped.
Yeah.
But, so in answer to your question, there's no issues with it. For whatever reason, for many years, when Larry owned the park, it somehow fell through the cracks where they didn't have to have the inspections done regularly. It came up after the sale and everything. The DEP said, hey, what is going on here? You know, you guys need to get on a schedule or pay the fines and get on a schedule.
Right.
So they got on a schedule. They were able to split it within, they'd done every 3 years. They were given 3 years. So they split it into 3s. That way they're not getting hit with a major fee of saying, all right, we want 270 of them done this year. So what is happening is the first 3 years is an expensive endeavor for the parks because they are so grossly behind the times. Not that they're not working, they're just not up to the code that all these towns require. You know, D-boxes down over 2 feet, just different rules that the towns now require. So unfortunately, for the first 3 years, it's bringing everything up. And then every 3 years, they do have to be inspected, as well as they're being pumped. Everything since it's been taken over, it's just more now the way it should have been for the last 60 or 70 years, and for whatever reason, it fell to the grounds. But there's no problems with it. I mean, are there systems that are old? You know, just like there are at Hickory Road? Yes. But there's no, you know, there's no effluent running down the road or any public concern or anything like that going on down there, no. Okay.
Steve, I'm just going to read you the definition.
I knew you would.
Yeah, unfortunately, you got to follow the definitions. That keeps you out of trouble. A shared system, a system cited and designed in accordance with 310 CMR 15.100 through 15.293, which serves or is proposed to serve more than one facility, and which has been approved in accordance with 310 CMR 15.290 through 15.293, a system serving a condominium located on the same facility is not a shared system. So you need 2 things. You gotta look at what the facility is and the shared system. So that's the...
All right, I'll agree with you in the definition, but both definitions end up requiring the same.
Oh, you need an inspection. There's no
Same
question.
thing.
You need an inspection.
Yes.
Although, if you had a shared system, like we just approved last week, you don't need an inspection every 2 years.
Yeah, because it's a house,
Does
it's
that
not
make
an
sense?
association.
Okay.
So, getting back to this real quick, I know we have an agenda, where did we just leave that off? Are we gonna wait till John comes, or are we gonna let
My thoughts are is to,
the engineer and Bob kinda make the decisions?
Well, I think we need the full board to make that decision to see if we want to do multiple units or if we want to do an area. I don't know that. 100
We really
feet.
have,
Go ahead, Bob. Let me just
I
say
mean,
that.
Bob's a soil evaluator, so I'm very interested to see what his opinion is, being somebody who has obviously dealt with this numerous times.
We also could take a look at the book, but I'm not 100% comfortable with the book. You know, the
DEP book, I had it out today.
no, the one with the soils, the ones with the, you know, the sandy loams, that go by the classifications. There's a guideline, but it's kind of outdated. It gives you types of soil in a particular area. So there is a map of that. But I've done
Is that
first.
website you referred to before? Yeah.
Yeah, so you can, I think if you got together and you looked at that, and I think he should make the decision. That's my opinion.
I mean,
I agree. I mean, it's going to be unique to what we already have, which would be Twin Lakes, Halifax Estates, maybe the senior living, Parsons Road.
that's a newer system.
But yeah, and the government's actually looking to put in a new system for them, which would be really nice.
I don't know that I agree that the condos are gonna be impacted like the mobile home parks. We've got various amount of repairs over the years. Some of them systems have been repaired 3 times. So I think you've got a fair consensus of soil evaluations throughout that area. And I don't know, I've only inspected a couple, but it seems way down back, they're doing a lot of repairs down there. I don't know, I've seen new pipes everywhere, so I think that one on 36, you're gonna have a fair representation of the soils in there.
I very well might. I'm just saying, we don't have any clustered communities.
No.
Nor plan on building anything anywhere near as tight as the mobile home estates.
No.
I would think. I'm just guessing, is there even land for us to put in more than 10 units in a certain acreage, or, you know?
Well, we're prohibited by zoning to,
There you go,
we
so-
can't have another,
I think it's the
mobile home park.
uniqueness of the mobile home situation and the whole
That's why I
soil
would,
eval thing.
I would recommend maybe if you can find out who was, actually I know, Colin McSweeney,
Oh, yeah.
sound familiar?
I've worked with him, and he's an engineer.
You know, I don't know if you guys want to kind of like spitfire, I mean, you said you'd prefer to wait for John to give the go-ahead?
yeah, if we're gonna have some sort of policy or plan, yes. Are you gonna have Colin do some of the soil val?
Colin
Yeah.
McSweeney.
Yeah, I know.
Collins.
So,
It's Colin McSweeney.
Collins, yeah.
His father is McSweeney and Associates.
Right, engineer. He actually used to be a health agent,
No, his father was.
or on the board of health.
Yeah, he was on the board.
I
Colin
know.
does a great job.
I know they went through trying to, because remember that lady was here, I know they went through trying to find a way to save some money, obviously.
Right.
And I don't know the specifics, but I know that I guess he gave a very, very good deal because of the amount of them that had to be done in order to keep the prices down for the park.
Okay, so-
I do know that, but in the name, that's kind of my,
Okay. But these inspections don't have to really be done tomorrow.
what do you mean?
Oh,
No, so if someone comes in and says, look at, whether they come to the board or they come to Bob and say, well, look at, we've got 6 units on Parkwood that need to be inspected, okay? This is a picture of what we got, this is where we'd like to put a hole. I think if Bob looks at it, the only thing is, well, yeah, even if he doesn't necessarily have to witness it, that's up to him. But I would say that would be okay. I don't think in that whole area, there's no one decision that's gonna fit all. I think that you gotta do it on a case-by-case basis.
Right. I agree. And leave
because
it up to
when
the
you-
professionals.
Yeah, when you get down the lower end near the park, there's no question that the groundwater's a little higher there.
Right.
When you get up near Plymouth Street, those soils are much, much better. And where it does drop down, your modeling could be.
Well, yeah, because I mean, when I was looking for a house, it was a house somewhere around 73 or something like that, Plymouth Street, which is right in front of the park. And that was a borderline raised system. There was a sump pump in the basement and everything, and that is up towards the Plymouth, obviously. So, you know, and that's nature's way would have been back there. But no, I mean, I knew nothing about solar valves. You know a lot. He knows a real lot because he's got the license. So, I mean, having him and the engineer kind of, I don't want to use the phrase hash it out, would probably be the best idea for all, you know, everyone involved.
Is Nature Way when you go in the second entrance off to the left?
Yep.
Okay. As soon as you get just beyond Nature Way, that soil turns into a sort of a till with high groundwater. Well, when I say high groundwater, I want to say high modeling, because it does turn into a till. And again, you're not getting the actual groundwater push that's coming up. You're getting some of that surface water that finds that harder material and forms modeling on that. So down in the, I'm going to say 48 Plymouth Street, and then down towards that town line, it gets tough down there, to Plumpton.
And I'll tell you, you know, you can have the best soils in the world and the groundwater at the right level. Most of the time, what kills the system is people using it wrong.
Yeah.
I'll put that out there right now, boy, because the 10 Commandments, which we have on our website, thou shalt not with a septic tank,
I
can make or break any system.
The next meeting, and Bob can talk to whomever he wants to get as much information as he wants and deal with it whichever way he wants. We just can't obviously pull any triggers, like Alan said, so we, you know, have the full board. But I don't see any reason why Bob can't start talking, asking questions. Do you, Alan?
I do not. You're going to find Colin very pleasant to work with.
He'll be fine.
I've worked with his father, and his father the last 15 years, so.
All right.
Good.
Any other questions?
No, thanks. I just knew that was going to be something that would end up in a lengthy conversation.
Yeah. Bob, agent report on the COVID-19 updates.
Okay, at least the last 2-week run rate. I'll get a new one tomorrow. But we had been in the mid 6% range, dropped down around 5.32 over the last 2 weeks. So I'm not seeing as many positive cases. And that's good only because the testing rates have been staying the same. Sometimes, you know, you're only going to get as many positives as people that you get tested. So I don't see the town spiking up at this point in time. At least it's coming down. And then on some good news, all of the homebound vaccinations were accomplished by the fire department last week, so they're all set. And we heard from Bridgewater State College. I believe the state should have them by next week as a mass vac site.
Oh, really?
Which will make it a lot closer for people on the South Shore to get to a mass vac site. And one of the benefits of that too will be, as a mass vac site, they'll be able to give certain towns a limited number, usually about 100 doses of vaccine a week. And if they're able to do that, I'm working in conjunction with the fire department again, and we try to set up some, like a little mini clinic here in town for people who couldn't even get to Bridgewater. But at least, you know, Bridgewater's as close as we can get it at this point. It's just been terrible for people to even think about driving to Gillette, or, you know, and the state's just really set on having only big vaccination centers. So hopefully by the end of next week.
I got a couple questions, Bob. We're still in the red.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep,
so-
we'll be in the red.
And because
It
of our
takes-
population, chances are we're not going to be out of the red until June or July.
Yeah. I mean,
All right.
I'm optimistic that hopefully July.
Okay, we're still under 10 for deaths.
Excuse me?
We're under 10.
Oh, yeah. No, we haven't had another death.
And I know you're getting the reports. Is the trend still lowering as far as age? They give me the age in the reports.
Oh, yeah.
So the trend has been...
Yep.
Steve, any questions?
Yeah, I do. Just going through the folder, I noticed the email about connecting rods. Do we have them coming in for a meeting before we get the approval?
Is connecting rods got to do with...
That's
COVID,
down
yeah.
on the,
It's, you know, that's large crowds, people awfully close to each other, as well as food.
right. So, here's what I know about connecting rods. Oh, wait, here's what I know about connecting rods. I got an email this morning from Pam McSherry saying, hey Bob, can you look at this entertainment application and let me know if you have any concerns? I'm like, I don't know, I'm looking at it, I go, yeah, I got a ton of concerns. But then Peggy told me, she goes, oh yeah, they dropped off an application for us, they do it all the time. I said, guys, they're gonna need to come in. They have no COVID plan in place. The amount of people that they're saying could be at a car event is 300 to 800 people.
I think that might be pushing it. I mean, I mean,
Current limit's 150. I know nothing about this event, guys. I came from another world until I got to Halifax. Never knew that there was even a car show in town because they didn't have it last year. So I'm just reading through it and I'm like, but you don't have any of the regulations that we need or any plan to tell me how we're going to do this safely for the community. It might be the best thing for the community, I don't know, but unless they can give me a plan that says we can keep people socially distanced, you know, what goes on there. The horse show, I have a booklet from both them and the equestrian committee on every procedure, protocol, practice that they use, the services that they hire to monitor it. I can't lead us into something until I know more about it.
How many people are
Hold on.
And so,
Just, I want to have Steve, we'll go to the board first and I'll take the audience.
sure.
Any questions for Bob on connecting rods?
no, I mean, I've somebody who frequents the car show, loves the car shows, but I mean, they're all lined up in parking spots. I mean, my only suggestion that I would give to them when they come in is to see if they can use that back area, that huge grass area that I think abuts to, might be Lincoln Street? I'm not even sure. But it's a much larger area. I mean, they go on this, if you're looking at Walmart, Bob, the parking lot on the right-hand side, that goes, down, that's what they just
I
line all
drove
up
the
right
parking
there.
lot today because
Yeah, but obviously that's something I'll bring up to them when they come in. So my only question is, have we talked to them to set up a time for them to come in? Because I'm assuming that starts soon with warm
Well-
weather coming.
Into May.
So, again, one, I just found out about it this morning,
Okay.
once I got an application. And two, every other either event, possible event, like the movie thing, they've already come to me first with information, not like, hi, we're just gonna do this, it's our car show, we've always done it.
So how does it go? Do we deny it and then tell them they have to
Deny
come in?
it
Like,
right now and
what's the
have them
process
come in
now?
for a meeting with some actual material that I can say, okay, well, cars are gonna be here, there. I mean, I got a whole plan when they wanted to do the
Well,
Halloween
I
driving.
understand it. I guess what I'm getting at is, so, where do we go from here? Does Peggy contact or Kelly contact them and set up where they come in at our next meeting, we get it on the agenda kind of thing?
I'll contact them, I'll work with them.
Okay.
But to, you know, I don't want us approving an application tonight that I don't know anything about.
Agreed.
You know?
Well, if I may, this came from the selectman's office. This is not the application.
That's the application for entertainment.
True, okay. Let me just make a suggestion. You've got, if you can work with them give them the guidelines. I'm not clear, are we at 200 maximum outside?
150.
We're at 150. Give them the guidelines on the 150, the governor's orders. In the governor's orders, they do require some sort of a plan. I've seen that, and I don't know how many, there's got to be up to 60 orders by now. I mean, I had a bunch of them, but I don't think I've read the last half dozen. Give them as much information as you can. Number of people, whose responsibility, to count the people, the requirement for social distancing. I'm assuming that the cars can be distanced enough. Any of the eating stuff, just provide them with all the information, and then they are gonna have to come in when we get a valid permit. This is from the selectmen. Now, I
We
believe,
have a valid permit. That's what's on our agenda for tonight. They filled out the regular event permit, and all it has is their name, address, and serial number, and who to call.
and that's not.
It doesn't say what,
It's not, we don't have that here, right?
no, it's in our agenda to be approved.
Okay.
We don't put it might be in your,
Okay.
in a different pile,
Yeah,
but
okay.
basically, in my opinion, they're just treating it as if it was the years past.
Okay,
We've come to Halifax, we've had a car show, and we're just gonna do it again.
okay, well, we know.
Well, now we have COVID in place, and
Okay, so we know that's not gonna happen. So you'll work with them to come up with some sort of a plan to present to us. And my suggestion is we're not taking any action. Let me just get to that part.
no,
We
not
won't
till
take
they
any
can.
action on that once we get to our permits.
Right, I mean, I'm gonna help them with the process, and I can put it there, but then I want them to be able to speak to the board and tell them that they're gonna follow the process.
Okay,
Because the hours of operation are on a Friday night. I have no problem working it and finding out if they're gonna adhere to it, but, it's one thing to give somebody information, and it's another thing to have them have a commitment to the plan. And what I saw last year at the horse show was that their commitment to the plan wasn't what I gave them, it's what they gave me, and I barely had to ask them for anything. So, I just want to head something off, a potential problem at the pass.
questions from the audience?
Yeah, I'm sure that they probably just didn't know.
Direct your question to the chair, please.
I'm saying they probably didn't know that they're not, I doubt that they're sending it in with any like, oh, we're just gonna do this. I would say that there's missing diction and tone and that they're just sending in the application and they need direction. Because the horse shows have a lot of people who run those and attorneys and things like that would make that up for them, where the car show is just like fun, you know? But anyways, they do use that backfield, like if they have more people.
Oh, okay.
They automatically wrap back there.
Okay.
So that's great. I was wondering, how many people are in Walmart in a day? Like, how many people are allowed in Walmart, like, for the building?
Well, are you comparing that to the outside
No, I'm
car
asking
show,
you a
or
question.
just, oh,
I'm
okay.
asking a question.
I'll grab the specific numbers for you, I don't keep them in my back pocket, but they're posted on each one. I'm sorry, I really should.
No, I was just wondering.
But that's, yeah, it's all based off of square footage, which technically, in my health opinion, allows more people in than what they should be able to have, because I spent 40 years of my life working retail, and I actually know that the square footage and the occupancy limits aren't what I would consider to be safe, but that's what the law and the rules say, so.
They are tracking it though.
Oh, yeah, every day.
They've got somebody, I don't know if you go in there at all, some people don't like, they've got somebody at the door that counts people coming in and out and sits there with a, I think it's a tablet.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Right. You know?
I must say that we haven't had any problems with Walmart. I think Walmart and both Stop and Shop have been very good about people with masks. They're instructed to call the police. I know they have had people removed by the police. They have refused to service them. So again, Bob, I'd follow it up.
I mean,
don't wanna
per
get off
square
subject
footage,
with-
yeah, I mean, a Cumberland's can have more people in it per square footage than a Walmart at any point in time, too. And they've done very good monitoring that situation.
Okay. Anything else in your report, Bob?
No, that was
Okay.
it.
Next notice is we have the sexual harassment policy, and was in our mail folder. Hopefully you'd signed it.
I did.
Meeting minutes were in our mail folder. I know they were fine, and I looked at them and I signed them. Steve, did you sign them?
I did.
Okay, so next item on our agenda is permits, and I will read those permits. 1, Steve Burt, Burt's Ice Cream Truck, 2021 Ice Cream Truck Services. 2, Scott Clausen, Fieldstone Park, 2021 Horse Show, large outdoor event, May 12th through the 16th, the 19th through the 23rd, June 5th and 6th, 23rd and 27th, and the 30th, July 1st through the 3rd, 7th through the 11th, August 18th through the 22nd, and 24th through the 29th, and September 8th through the 12th, 2021. Lawrence McDonald, Mr. Perfection, DBA Loco Larry's Taco, 2021 mobile food truck, 5/12/21 to 9/12/21 at Fieldstone Show Park events. That was 3. 4, which is Connecting Rods Walmart Car Show 2021 seasonal permit. I'm going to ask that to be hold. We'll do that in the vote, Steve.
I agree.
5, James Bertoni Surf Dogs 2021 mobile food truck permit. 5/12 through the 16th, 2021, and May 19th through the 23rd, 2021 at Show Park, Fieldstone Show Park events. William Dyer, WLD Excavating Company, 2021 septic installers permit. 7, which is Conrad A. Cating Construction, 2021 septic installers permit. 8, Patrick Murphy, Murphy Brothers Excavating, LLC, 2021 septic installers permit. 9, Michael Wilson, Reliable Excavations, 2021 septic installers permit. 10, Joseph Keogh, Joseph F. Keogh Contracting, 2021 Title V Inspectors Permit. And I'd be looking for a motion to approve all of these except for connecting rods for discussion at this point.
I just have one quick question.
Yes.
Do we require quarries before we approve food service and stuff like that?
No, that's not part of the statute. The only time you need, my understanding, the only time you need quarries is going to be if you're an employee, you're going to the schools, but it's got nothing to do with us.
I had to have a quarry check to be on a field at
school.
baseball.
Yeah, correct, yeah.
Okay.
You would-
Yeah,
you would definitely need that.
And ice cream trucks.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, ice cream trucks, which we had, it was just a question. I second with that, with the exception of the connecting rod.
Just second it for discussions.
Second for discussion.
Okay, Bob, number 2, Clausen, Fieldstone Park. Where are we with the well results?
He said that they're on their way, so.
Okay. I'm gonna ask that, okay, we have an agreement. That agreement spelled out, if my memory is correct, he's gotta have them at a certain time. Is it May, April, and June? He's gotta have 2 or 3?
Yep.
Has the first permit, has the first well test been submitted?
By May?
Yes.
It's not May yet, no. he said
No, I mean,
they're on the
okay,
way.
whatever the date, I don't remember the date. It's been 2 or 3 years since we did that.
Right, yeah, it was May.
Okay, is it May?
Right.
Okay,
And he
so-
contacted me last week and said that they're on their way.
They're on
He's
their way.
waiting for the results.
Okay, so what I'm going to suggest is that this permit not be issued until we get a satisfactory water test that we've required in the past. We've had some issues down there. And again, for the record, connecting rods, we're gonna hold off. So I have a motion for and you'll second that, okay? And I'm gonna move to a vote for all the items except for 5, and with a hold on 2 based on the water results,
I'll second.
okay? And we're gonna go to a vote.
All in favor?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye. Having nothing else to be done, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. At 8:01.
Second?
No, you wanna make
I
that?
hate motion. A motion that we go home?
Yeah, motion to go home.
At
I'll second
8:01.
that. Thank you.
Hey.